Now that you finished setting up your CPA accounts, it's time to start getting into the Adware networks. Though usually you'll get accepted into an Adware network much faster than CPA network. By this I mean usually anywhere from 12 hours to 24 hours after you registered. Now, from the beginning, I want you to get accepted into at least 1 to 2 main Adware networks that you plan to use. Of course, I'm not just going to tell you to get accepted into while introducing a couple of them to you. You should always try to do your own research on whichever Adware network that you want, even I show them to you here. Remember, not all of them are created equal in terms of reach. Some networks may be more legit towards the end user and respect their privacy, and while other networks also might convert better for you depending on how they display their ads. Everything can also vary depending on your offer, so the most important thing that I suggest is that you always test your results. One key component to Adware networks that I want to introduce you to is the trust E symbol. I'm going to type this for you right here and clicking on their site. Now, my personal experience tells me is to always go with trust E verified Adware networks. In case you aren't familiar with them, and most likely most people aren't, they are actually a third-party organization that deals with very big companies. This includes Apple, IBM, and eBay. What this means is that if an Adware network is verified, they're usually better positioned and respect the user's privacy, as I mentioned before. Now, usually the way people get Adware is when they attempt to download something. They are usually given a third-party display that tells them that when they download a certain item, Adware will be displayed in return for a free download. This is usually the case, and this is usually how most Adware gets distributed. However, you should not take this traffic source lightly. In cases where Adware is installed into the end user while telling them, this is occasionally and most of the time considered spyware. This is the very big difference between Adware and spyware, because spyware in essence is usually without consent. Not only is this a big deal, but you also notice a very big difference in conversions depending on Adware and spyware and how it's displayed to the end user. Usually Adware is much more better received because a user has already expected download and expected them for ads to be displayed. Again, you can usually tell if an Adware network respects the user's privacy by displaying the trust E symbol, which is something that looks like this at the top. Or even better, if an Adware network displays the Better Business Bureau logo on their site. If you're still not sure, I would recommend that you call up each Adware network and ask if they're trust E verified. There's also another list of questions that you might consider asking them. This might include asking them exactly how they obtain their traffic, and asking them how they obtain their user base. I do recommend questioning each network's policy before you decide to stick with them and giving each of them a big test. Now, this website right here is an example of an Adware traffic source. Media traffic has a growing audience of, according to them, of over 15 million users. They usually feature multiple ways of purchasing traffic and are very easy to use for most beginners. Now, at the very bottom, you'll be able to see the Trust E seal verification. Again, for most Adware networks that have this, it means that they are usually consensual in terms of displaying their ads. Now, personally, I've had good experience with media traffic in terms of my own conversions for a couple of campaigns. However, they have a new policy change where the maximum number of words is 3 per keyword. Also, the maximum number of characters is 40 for URLs. This is a very different change, and of course, not all the strategies that you discover later on can be applied. However, they are still a very reliable network to get your feet wet. Now, the next Adware network that I want to introduce you to is called ClickSource. I'm going to type it right here. Now, this next network that I want to show you is called ClickSource. They accept new applicants very fast from my own personal experience. And from the campaigns that I've ran, they have had very, very decent results with their traffic. Of course, results may vary depending on your campaign and your offers. According to their site, they have over 900 million ad impressions served per month. Of course, they also, according to them, have unlimited keywords that can use and target with their network. I personally would recommend that you start with media traffic just to get your feet wet, but Clickster is another good choice if you want to get started with. Now, the next Adware network that I want to introduce you to is called Traffic Vans. Again, I'll type that for you up there in the display URL. Traffic Vans is a network for those who want a very reliable source. With this network, you'll be able to deliver full-page ads to targeted traffic. This network claims to have the highest ROI of all the other Adware networks. Personally, I had decent results from them, but I cannot say much. Results will vary depending on the network that you go with. I personally think Traffic Vans is a good choice to go with if you're willing to start with a higher budget first. They also allow maximum control over your advertising and most activities. Now, these are only 3 Adware networks that I've only shown you. There's a list of other Adware networks that I've displayed for you in the report. Usually, you should go with your own gut feeling and ask as many questions as you want, depending on which Adware network you want to go with. Some of them you'll find that their traffic won't convert at all, while others will convert at an insane rate. This will differ depending on your offers, the network itself, and the demographic. Of course, whatever you want to do, you always want to test. This is just a brief intro, and I'll be logging into the Adware networks themselves later on to show you how each of them run. With that said, let's go on to the next video.